Maybe you try to speak, but your mouth feels heavy and you cannot find the words, so you stay quiet and feel sad later. It is normal to feel this way, and you are not alone. In this video from English 1314, we will try a different way to learn. We will learn English through a real-life story about a famous person, Bill Gates, the man who helped bring computers into many homes and offices. You will listen to his story in very simple English, made for A2 learners like you, with short sentences and familiar words. You can just relax, listen, and later shadow the voice, so that English can slowly become more natural for you, like a song that you hear many times and finally start to sing along. Welcome to English 1314, a place where you can learn English with real stories and gentle practice instead of heavy, boring lessons. In this video, we will tell the life story of Bill Gates in clear, slow English, so you can follow even if your level is beginner or A2. We will not talk like a textbook or an exam. We will talk like a friendly person who sits with you and tells you a story about another human being. First, you can just listen and enjoy the story like watching a small movie in your mind. Then, you can listen again and shadow, which means you repeat the sentences at the same time as the speaker, like a quiet echo that follows a louder voice. This simple habit will help your mouth, your ears, and your brain work together in English, and it will slowly build your confidence. Today, our story has 3 parts. We will talk about Bill Gates as a curious boy who loves reading and computers and spends long hours with books and early machines. Then we will see how he leaves Harvard, builds Microsoft with his friend, and helps bring personal computers into many homes, schools, and offices. After that, we will look at how he spends more time on charity work and tries to help people in many parts of the world with health, education, and clean water projects. At the end, we will also take a few easy sentences from his story that you can use in your own life, so you can speak about your curiosity, your practice, and your wish to help others. In this way, you learn English and learn life lessons at the same time, and every minute you listen is a small but real step forward. Bill Gates was born in 1955 in Seattle, a rainy city in the northwest of the United States. The city has many trees, gray clouds, and a calm feeling, and it is close to water and mountains, so there is a lot of nature around. Bill grew up in a family that cared a lot about school, work, and helping other people. His father was a lawyer, and his mother worked with schools and charity groups. They were not poor, and they wanted their children to study well, think clearly, and try their best in life. From a young age, Bill liked to read more than most children. While other kids ran outside all afternoon, he sometimes sat on a chair or on the floor with a book in his hands. When he was reading, he was so focused that he did not hear when someone called his name or when other people walked around him. His parents sometimes had to call him many times to bring him back from his book world to the real world. He was a quiet boy, but inside his mind there were many questions. He liked to ask why, how, and what if, and he did not stop after the first answer. At school, Bill was good at many subjects, but he felt special joy when he studied math and logical problems. He liked questions that had clear right answers if you think step by step and follow a simple plan. Teachers could see that he had a strong mind and a high level of energy for ideas. Sometimes he spoke very fast when he explained a problem because he was excited to share his thinking. When he was a teenager, something very important happened in his school. The school got access to a computer, which at that time was a large and expensive machine that most children in the world had never seen. In those days, computers were not inside every home. They were usually in big companies, universities, or special rooms with strong air conditioning and many cables. When Bill first saw the computer, he did not know exactly what it could do, but he felt very curious. He wanted to touch it, test it, and see how it worked from the inside. Soon, he and a small group of friends started to spend many hours in the computer room. They wrote simple programs, made mistakes, and then fixed those mistakes again and again. Sometimes their programs stopped the system or created strange results, and they had to learn how to repair the damage with calm hands and a clear mind. They often lost track of time, and they stayed in the computer room until very late in the evening. Sometimes adults were not happy because the boys used too many computer hours and forgot other things like sports or family dinners. Bill sometimes got in trouble for staying up too late or skipping other activities because he wanted more computer time. But even when he was in trouble, the deep feeling inside him did not change. He loved this new machine because it was like a big, patient brain that listened to his code and answered his commands without getting bored. These early days with books and computers helped shape his mind. From books, he learned to enjoy quiet time, deep focus, and big ideas. From the computer, he learned how small lines of code can create useful results if you are careful and patient. His parents tried to keep balance in his life. They wanted him to play sports, spend time with family, and learn social skills, not only live in the world of books and screens. So his teenage years were a mix of normal activities and long nights with a bright screen in front of him. This mix of love for reading and love for computers became the base for his future life and his later success in technology and business. Many years later, when people asked him about success, he often talked about curiosity and practice, and those two things started in this early period in Seattle. After high school, Bill Gates went to Harvard University, one of the most famous universities in the world. Many people thought that with his talent, he would follow a safe path, finish his degree, and become a top lawyer, scientist, or leader in a big company. At the same time, something big was happening in the world of technology. New, smaller computers were starting to appear. Before this time, computers were huge machines in special rooms, but now some companies were trying to make computers that normal people could buy and use at home or in small offices. Bill and his friend Paul Allen watched this change very closely. They read magazines and news about small computers, and they felt that a new age was coming. They believed that one day a computer could be on every desk and in every home, and that software would be the key to using those computers well. They did not want to just watch this change from far away. They wanted to be part of it and help guide it. So Bill made a very bold decision. He left Harvard before finishing his degree and moved to work full-time with Paul Allen. Together, they started a company called Microsoft. The name comes from microcomputer and software because they wanted to write software or programs for these new small computers. At the beginning, Microsoft was just a small group of young people with big dreams. They did not have fancy offices, big salaries, or large teams. They had simple rooms, many cups of coffee, and long days and nights of hard work. They wrote code, tested it, and then wrote more code. Sometimes they worked until 2 or 3 in the morning, slept for a short time on a sofa, and then started again. They wanted to make programs that were useful, simple, and friendly for new computer users. One of the most important things Microsoft did was to create an operating system. An operating system is a basic program that helps control the computer. It helps the computer start, open programs, store files, and talk to the user. With an operating system, a person does not need to type long and difficult commands all the time. Later, Microsoft created Windows, a system that showed windows, icons, and menus on the screen. With a mouse and simple clicks, people could open programs, move files, and do work more easily. This idea helped many people feel less afraid of computers and more ready to try them. Over the years, more and more computer makers used Microsoft software on their machines. Personal computers, also called PCs, started to appear on desks in homes, schools, and offices in many countries. Students wrote reports, workers wrote emails, and families played games, all on computers that often used Microsoft programs. The company grew very fast. It moved from a small office to big buildings with many employees and many different teams. Bill Gates became very rich and very famous, and his name was often in the news. People started to see him as a symbol of the computer age and the software business. However, his daily life was not only about money and fame. He was very involved in the details of the work. He read long reports about products, checked important lines of code, and asked hard questions in meetings. People who worked with him often said that he was tough but focused. He wanted things to be better and better, and he did not like weak answers or lazy thinking. Many nights he stayed late at the office, walking through rooms, talking with teams, and thinking about the future of technology. Life at Microsoft was full of deadlines, product launches, and changes. New ideas came, old ideas had to change, and the company had to move fast to stay ahead. Through all this, Bill kept a clear belief. He believed that software is a tool that can help people think, create, and connect. He wanted to put a computer on every desk and in every home, and this simple dream guided many of his choices in those busy years. After many years of building Microsoft, Bill Gates reached a point where the company was very large and very strong. Microsoft had offices in many countries and thousands of employees. The products were used by millions of people around the world, from students in small towns to workers in big cities. At this stage, Bill started to think more about time, purpose, and the next chapter of his life. He began to step back slowly from the daily work of running Microsoft. Other leaders took more responsibility for the company's everyday decisions, while he focused more on big directions. Bill still cared about technology and still helped with big ideas, but he wanted to focus more on something different. Together with his then-wife, Melinda, he created a large charity organization called the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. The idea of this foundation was simple to say, but very hard to do. They wanted to use part of their great wealth to help solve some of the world's biggest problems. The foundation began to work in areas like health, education, and poverty. For health, they supported projects that help children get vaccines to protect them from dangerous diseases. They helped give money to programs that fight illnesses that are common in poor countries, where families do not always have access to doctors or good medicine. For education, the foundation gave support to schools and teachers, trying to help students get better tools and better chances to learn. In some places, this meant giving money for books or simple technology. In other places, it meant helping to design new programs so that more children could stay in school and finish their studies. The foundation also worked on projects about clean water and toilets, because dirty water and bad sanitation can make many people sick. They tried to help communities build better systems so that families could drink safer water and live in a cleaner environment. The foundation paid special attention to women and girls because in many parts of the world, girls do not have the same chances as boys to go to school or to control their own life choices. Bill Gates did not just send money and stay at home. He spent many hours reading reports, talking with experts, and trying to understand complex data. He traveled to different countries to visit health centers, schools, and villages. He spoke with local leaders, doctors, and teachers to see what was working and what was not working on the ground. In public talks, he often encouraged people to think about the future and to care about problems that are far from their own home. Some people praised his work and said that his foundation saved many lives and opened many doors. Other people asked hard questions and said that big foundations have a lot of power and must listen carefully to the people they want to help. Our goal in this video is not to answer all those questions. Our goal is to see how one person moved from business success to a new focus on giving back. The important point for our English learning is that life can have many chapters. In one chapter, Bill Gates was a young student in love with computers. In the next chapter, he was a busy business leader building Microsoft and helping bring computers into everyday life. In a later chapter, he spent much more time on global health and education. His story shows that success is not only about money or a job title, it can also be about how you use your time, your skills, and your resources to try to make a positive difference for other people, even when the problems are big and difficult and the answers are not always clear. Bill Gates's story gives us several simple lessons that you can remember and use in your own life and in your English journey. The first lesson is about curiosity. From his childhood, he loved to read and to explore new ideas. He did not wait for the teacher to tell him everything. He went to the computer room, tried things, failed, and tried again. For your English, you can also choose curiosity. You can say, I am curious. I want to know more. When you see a new word or a new phrase, you can feel interested instead of afraid. You can look for simple videos, stories, and songs that you enjoy, and let your curiosity lead you to new input every day. The second lesson is about brave decisions. Leaving Harvard was a big risk, and many people might say it was crazy. But Bill felt strongly that the time was right for small computers and software, so he made a brave choice. In your life, a brave decision may be smaller, but still important. It may be to speak English in front of other people, even when your heart beats fast. It may be to join an English club, start a YouTube channel, or send a message in English to a friend. You can tell yourself, sometimes I must make a brave choice. It is better to try than to stay silent. When you say this line, you give yourself permission to speak, even if your English is not perfect. And that is how you grow. The third lesson is about daily practice. At Microsoft, Bill and his team worked day and night. They did not build important software in one day. They wrote code, tested it, found mistakes, and fixed them again and again. In the same way, you will not build strong English in one day or 1 week. You need many small steps. You can create a simple habit, like listening to 10 minutes of English every day, or shadowing one short paragraph from this story. You can say, I practice a little every day. When you speak this sentence, it reminds you that small, regular practice is enough for now. You do not need to be perfect. The fourth lesson is about helping others. After he became very rich, Bill could have spent all his time on his own comfort. Instead, he chose to spend much of his time and money to try to help people in other countries. Your situation is different, but you can still use this idea. You can share what you learn with friends, help classmates with homework, or leave kind comments for other learners online. You can say, I can learn and also help other people. When you help others, your own learning often becomes deeper and more joyful because teaching and supporting others makes ideas stronger in your own mind. The fifth lesson is about adapting to change. Technology changed quickly during Bill Gates's life. He had to move from large, old computers to small personal computers, and then later from a business life to a life with more focus on charity work. In your English journey, your life will change too. Sometimes you will have more free time, sometimes less. Sometimes you will feel full of energy, sometimes tired. You can say, life changes. I can change my plan, but I do not stop. This sentence gives you strength when your routine is broken. Maybe you cannot study for 1 week, but you can always come back and start again. The sixth lesson is about clear and simple communication. When Bill Gates speaks in public, he often uses simple language to explain difficult ideas because he wants many people to understand and join the conversation. You can also choose simple English. You do not need big words to be smart. You can use short sentences like, I think this idea is important, or I need more time to understand. You can practice saying these lines slowly 3 times with a calm voice and clear sound. When you speak clearly, people respect you and feel comfortable talking with you. All of these lessons are not only ideas in a story, they can become real tools in your daily life if you repeat the simple sentences out loud and use them in real situations with real people. Now it is your turn to use this story to grow your English. First, choose one short part of this video that you like. maybe 4 to 6 sentences from the childhood, the Microsoft years, or the charity work. Play that part again and again. Listen carefully and then shadow it, which means you speak at the same time as the voice. At first, you may feel slow or confused. But if you repeat many times, your tongue and your ears will slowly learn the rhythm of English and feel more relaxed. Second, write one simple sentence in English in the comments. You can answer a question like, "What do you learn from Bill Gates's story?" Or, "Which part of his journey inspires you?" Your sentence can be very short. For example, "I want to practice every day like him," or "I am curious and I want to know more." Remember, the comment section is not a test. It is a safe place for practice, and mistakes are normal and welcome. If you see comments from other learners, you can read them and write one kind reply, such as, "Good job, keep going." In this way, we all support each other and feel less alone. Third, if you enjoy learning English with real stories, subscribe to English 1314 and watch the next videos in this series about famous people. You can make a small plan, like listening to one story 3 times this week and shadowing your favorite part each day. You can also keep a small notebook or a simple note on your phone where you write one useful sentence from each video with the date. Over time, you will build your own collection of sentences that feel natural for you, and you can read them again when you feel low. Step by step, your listening will become stronger, your speaking will feel more free, and your fear will slowly become smaller. When you finish this video, take a deep breath, smile, and say to yourself, "I practiced today, and that is a big success." Then, when you are ready, come back for the next story and continue your English journey with patience, hope, and a curious heart.